So I'd like to talk about an issue that isn't discussed enough. There have been recently a number of stories of false rape accusations and the terrible consequences that accompany them. Um, and before we get into the examples, I think the first question, of course, anyone asks is well, how common is this problem? I mean, how often does it happen that somebody is falsely accused of rape? Feminists and other liberals will, if you've heard them talk about this, you've probably heard the figure 2%. And here's the thing about feminists. Feminists love to make up statistics. I think it's their favorite thing to do in the world. They enjoy that even more than yelling and screaming at men. They just love making up statistics. It's really it's their favorite pastime. So they have this 2% figure that they will often cite. They'll say, well, 2% of all rape accusations are false. Now, I want to give you an example of how that argument is framed. And I was just looking this up online to try to get to the bottom of it, and I found just for instance an article on the website quartz.com, which was published in 2017, and it says this. It says, "Let's start with the idea that false rape accusations ruin lives and are therefore a universal risk to men. Generally, feminists dismiss this idea by arguing that false accusations are rare. Only between 2% and 10% of all reports are estimated to be false. What's equally important to know, however, is that false rape accusations almost never have serious consequences." Now, we'll get to that almost never have serious consequences thing in a second, but let's look at 2% to 10%. Okay, so that's the range that we've been given here. And so 2% is, like I said, that's what you'll most often hear. Let's look at that. The problem with 2% is that, as I said, it's a made-up figure. Okay, it's not. It is not. It's not based in reality. A report by a man named Edward Greer, which was published in the Loyola of Los Angeles Law Review in I think 2000 or 2001, tried to get to the bottom of this figure to find out where it originates. That's why it's a lengthy report where he goes into detail about this idea that only 2% of all rape accusations are false. And Greer discovered that it originates from a book written in 1975. And the book gives this figure and cites as its source a speech which was given by a judge the year before. So Greer contacted the judge's law clerk and found out that nobody really knows or remembers where that figure came from. It's just something that the guy said in the speech. In other words, it's a false statistic from 40 years ago.